wrong with my mic. Or something's wrong with the settings. Says we're good, but if I hold a note, it like cuts out. You see that? It drops. If I hold a note for too long, it drops. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Anyway, guys, it's Friday morning, the last night of the week. Hallelujah. It's been a quick week, and it was a 6-day week. I worked a 6-day week. Got an extra day of overtime. So that's pretty cool. But it's Friday. That means I get to sleep in today. Tonight, we're going to go on VK. On delay. But this morning, we're going to keep reading from Isaiah chapter 30, starting at chapter 30. Trust in the Lord, not in Egypt. So probably more of the same, more stuff about Egypt. Oh, you know what? Hold on one second. Oh my gosh, did it happen? I knew it was going to happen. The drawstring came through. Dang it. Hold on. I knew this was going to happen. I don't know why they don't put knots in the drawstrings, and I don't want to tie a knot in it. Man. Hold on, now I gotta do some surgery to get this drawstring out of here. It's not super far. Hold on. Give some people some time to roll in while I fix this. It's almost out. There it is. They should have some sort of mechanism, like a knot, to keep that from happening. But I don't want to tie a knot because it looks cool with the little plastic tabs. Anyway, hold on one second. Literally 1 second. Well, not literally 1 second, but I'm right here. All right. All right, let's get this show on the road. We're going to read 30 to 35 today. Blessing of looking to the Lord. A rebuke to those in Judah who look to Egypt for deliverance. So we've been talking about, this has been a common theme for a while. And now we're really getting to it. They're begging Egypt to save them instead of God. And that's what we're about to read about. Remember, we're talking about southern Judah. The Assyrians are going to take them out. And instead of going to God for help, they keep going to Israel, hiding, running, things like that. So let me see here. I was all worried, like, what happened? What happened? The drawstring came through. Yeah. I always tie a knot in mine. I can't stand that, especially when it goes halfway in. Yeah, I know. I just don't. I like the way it looks without it. Anyway, yeah, so let's get started on this. And by the way, apparently I did like I don't know what happened, but somehow YouTube automatically started up a stream. Like after I did the Bible stream yesterday, I went to bed, and it seems like 4 hours later, and my computer was closed. It's a laptop. It was closed. but the camera was still working, the mic was still working, and somehow it started up another stream. That Uno stream has been open forever. So like, I don't know if I can show you guys. Studio mode, settings. Nah, I can't show you while I'm streaming. But basically, when I manage my stream in OBS, it gives me an option of streams that are ready to start. Like if I set up a stream preview on YouTube, it'll show in OBS that that's a stream that I can connect to and go live onto that stream. So this Uno with the homies one is from like 3 or 4 years ago. It was me and Bibby and Luca and somebody else playing Uno. And I don't know if I didn't end the stream properly, but that stream is always on my OBS stream manager when I pick which stream I want to go to. So I set it up in YouTube. Then it shows up on the list of streams that are ready to go in OBS. Well, there's one, the Uno with the homie stream has always been in that list, and I don't know why it's always been in that list. And anyway, it randomly started up on its own. I don't know how that happened, but I was sleeping. And then I woke up. I didn't know that I was streaming. I woke up and went to work. So like halfway through the stream, the light turns on. That's me waking up. You hear me coughing and stuff. I just woke up. I go to work. And people are messaging me saying, you're live right now. And I'm like, no. And I checked it. And I was live all night. Got like 200 views. Got $1 super chat or $1 cash app from William Gramer saying, hey, you're live right now. I don't think you know. I don't know what happened. I don't know. It automatically started a stream. The ghost of JS wanted to play Uno. I guess. But anyway, that was weird. Let's get into this. I'm ready to get to bed. Yeah. Let's get straight into it. Isaiah chapter 30. We're going to try to get to chapter 35 today. So let's get right into this. We're talking about the rebellious children of Israel who are turning to Egypt instead of God. Still. Chapter 30. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Where's Freddie at? He would love this. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. True. For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be in help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beasts of the south into the land of the south, into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper and fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon the shoulder of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still. Their strength is to sit still. That's funny. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of it assured to take fire from the hearth, or to take water withal out of the pit. For thus saith the Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, and ye would not. But ye said, No, for we will flee upon horses. Therefore shall ye flee, and we will ride upon the swift. Therefore shall they that pursue you be swift. 1,000 shall flee at the rebuke of one. At the rebuke of 5 shall ye flee, till ye be left as a beacon upon the top of a mountain, and as an ensign on a hill. And therefore will the Lord wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore will he be exalted, that he may have mercy upon you. For the Lord is a God of judgment. Blessed are all they that wait for him. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right hand, and when ye turn to the left. Ye shall not defile also the coverings of any graven images of silver, and the ornament of thy molten images of gold. Thou shalt cast them away as a menstruous cloth. Cast away the idols as a menstruous cloth. A menstruous cloth. What do you guys think that is? I know what that is. He said, cast away the graven images and the idols of Egypt like a tampon, like a used tampon. It sounds dirtier when you say it that way, but it means the same thing, a menstruous cloth. Cast them away as a menstruous cloth. Thou shalt say unto it, Get thee hence. Then shall he give the rain of thy seed, that thou shalt sow the ground withal, and bread of the increase of the earth, and it shall be fat and plenteous. In that day shall thy cattle feed in large pastures. The oxen likewise, and the young asses that ear the ground shall eat clean provender, which hath been winnowed with the shovel and with the fan. And there shall be upon, this is a long chapter, and there shall be upon every high mountain and upon every high hill rivers and streams of waters in the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall. Ooh, little prophecy there. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, as the light of 7 days. In the day that the Lord bindeth up the breach of his people, and healeth the stroke of their wound. Behold, the name of the Lord cometh from far, burning with his anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue is a devouring fire. And his breath as an overflowing stream shall reach to the midst of the neck, to sift the nations with the sieve of vanity. And there shall be a bridle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err. Ye shall have a song, as in the night when a holy solemnity is kept, and gladness of heart, as when one goeth with a pipe to come into the mountain of the Lord, to the mighty one of Israel. And the Lord shall cause this glorious voice to be heard, and shall shew the lightning down of his arm, with the indignation of his anger, and with the flame of a devouring fire, with scattering and tempest and hailstones. For through the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrian be beaten down, which smote with a rod. And in every place where the grounded staff shall pass, which the Lord shall lay upon him, it shall be with tabrets and harps, and in battles of shaking will he fight with it. For Tophet is ordained of old, yea, for the king it is prepared. He hath made it deep and large. The pile thereof is fire and much wood. The breath of the Lord is like a stream of brimstone, doth kindle it. So that's chapter 30. That was a long chapter. they threw back then that the Egyptian stuff was a bloody, yeah, pretty much, Dean, pretty much. So this is a rebuke to those in Judah who look to Egypt for deliverance. Woe, who walk to go down to Egypt to strengthen themselves in the strength of the Pharaoh. This prophecy was given at a time when the Assyrian army was attacking Israel and Judah. The northern kingdom of Israel would soon be conquered by Assyria, and the people of Israel would be taken into exile. The Assyrians would then come against the southern kingdom of Judah, and because of this threat, the leaders of Judah looked to Egypt for protection against the Syrian invasion. Bad move, wrong move, Israel, Judah, who took counsel but not of me, and who devised plans but not of my spirit. That makes sense. In looking to Egypt, Judah forsook the Lord. In one sense, it was wise and good for Judah to understand that they needed help and were willing to look outside of themselves for help. In the larger sense, it was foolish and evil of Judah to look to others, especially Egypt, for help, instead of looking to the Lord. Facts. Verses 3-5. Therefore, the strength of the Pharaoh shall be your shame, and trust in the shadow of Egypt shall be your humiliation. I understand that. They were all ashamed of people who could not benefit them. Let's skip ahead. Some of these are self-explanatory, at least to me. The burden against the beasts of the south. The burden against the beasts of the south. Isaiah proclaimed a burden against the pack animals of Judah, which would carry the riches of Judah down to Egypt through the wilderness in a foolish attempt to purchase protection against the Assyrians. The Egyptians shall help in vain and to no purpose. No wonder Isaiah felt sorry for the donkeys that would carry the treasure of Judah down to Egypt. Despite the riches that the pack animals bring across the desert, Egypt would not help Judah at all. So one could call Egypt Rahab Hem Shebeth, which means Rahab sits idle, or Rahab the do-nothing. Rahab is a name, but it's also the Hebrew word for pride. So pride sits idle, or pride does nothing, and is sometimes used as a title for Egypt. I like that. Egypt, and that's Psalms 87:4. Rahab is used as a title for Egypt. Rahab Hem Shebeth. I want to tell that to Freddie next time. Rahab Hem Shebeth means Egypt does nothing. Egypt sits idle. Pride sits idle. Egypt, pride, Rahab. Synonyms. Verses 8-11. Now go, write it before them on a tablet, that it may be for a time to come, forever and ever. God told Judah this before it happened and wanted it documented. This was so when it all unfolded exactly as the Lord had spoken. Judah could have greater trust in the Lord. Say to the seers, do not see. The seers do not see. And returning and rest you shall be saved, and quietness and confidence shall be your strength. God offered Judah the promise of protection from Assyria. They didn't need to look to Egypt to help at all. They could have trusted in God for his promise. Trusting God's promise means returning. If there's a conspicuous disobedience in our lives, we must return to the Lord's ways. Outright disobedience is never consistent with real trust in God's promise. Returning also has the idea of drawing close to the Lord. Good morning, Amanda. Trusting God's promise means quietness. You don't need to argue for your side when God is on your side. Facts. Be quiet before him and before others. It shows you really trust him. Trusting God's promise means confidence. You aren't given to despair or fear because you trust in God's promise. You know he can and will come through, and you have a profound confidence in the God who loves you. That's true. You said, no, for we will flee on horses, therefore you shall flee. Because Judah rejected God's promise and trusted in horses and other such things instead, they would need to flee. If they would have trusted God's promise instead, they would never have had the reason to flee and would have seen the Lord's salvation and strength instead. 1,000 shall flee at the threat of one. This is a reversal of the promise of Leviticus 26:8 and a fulfillment of the curse promised in Leviticus 26:17. I will set my face against you, and you shall be defeated by your enemies. Those who hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when no one pursues you. So that's the verse in Leviticus that ties to this verse in Isaiah 30. 1,000 shall flee at the threat of one. One person makes a threat, and 1,000 people run. That's Israel. The blessings of restoration for Judah. Hold on. God promises to bless, verse 19, God promises to bless his people by responding to their cry. Verses 20 through 21, God promises to bless his people with guidance. Verse 22, God promises to bless his people with the desire for purity. This is the, oh, look, this translation, they got a soft translation. It says, you will also defile the covering of your images of silver and the ornament of your molded images of gold. You will throw them away as an unclean thing. You will say to them, get away. That's not what the King James says. King James says a menstruous cloth. Let's look that up. Let's make sure that maybe it just means dirty, you know? But I'm assuming menstruous cloth means what I think it means. LM LMNOPQRS. Menahem, Minumoth, Minuna, men servants, menstruous. It's only used 3 times in the whole Bible. It's in Isaiah, Lamentations, and Ezekiel. So the minor prophets shall cast them away as a menstruous cloth. 1739. Let's go to 1739. 16. Oh, there's a turned corner there. Let me fix this real quick. I grew up reading menstruous cloth. Yeah, it says an unclean thing in some newer translations. What was the number again? 1739, 1739, 1739, 1739. 19, 18, 1739. So the Hebrew word is dalve. Dalve. It means sick, menstruous cloth. She that is sick, having sickness. She that is sick. I think it means what we think it means, guys. A menstruous cloth for she that is sick. A dalve. Dalve. We're learning a little Hebrew every day. Dalve. I think it means what we think it means. It is definitely an unclean thing, but that seems like a bit of a softer translation. You will throw them away as an unclean thing. The literal Hebrew for unclean thing is literally a menstrual cloth. The people of God would come to hate their idols so much that they would throw them away as readily as they would throw away a used menstrual cloth. Interestingly, the King James Version and the New International Version both translate these words as menstrual cloth. It's actually menstruous cloth. But the King James Version uses the euphemistic unclean thing. Well, I just read the King James, and I didn't see it say unclean thing. I saw menstruous cloth. Anyway, enough on that. The point is, the idols were worthless. They were gross. They were nasty. Then he will give the rain for your seed. When Judah puts away their idols, boldly trusting God's promise, then God will send material blessings on Judah. For a nation of farmers, it was a wonderful promise to make them fat and plentiful. In a naturally dry land, it was a wonderful promise to give abundant rivers and streams of waters. In the day that the Lord binds up and bruises his people and heals the stroke of their wound, better than the material blessings, the Lord is his loving care. Of the Lord is his loving care. So he takes care of them and he helps them materially, spiritually, physically, all of that. Verses 30 through 33. The Lord will cause his glorious voice to be heard. That's simple. Assyria will be beaten down. That I don't need an explanation of that. For Tophet was established of old. Yes, for the king it is prepared. Tophet was a place in the valley of Hinnom, just outside of Jerusalem's walls. And you can read about that in Jeremiah 7:31, which is the next book. The valley of Hinnom served as Jerusalem's garbage dump, and the combination of disgusting rubbish and smoldering fires made it a picture of hell. The Hebrew word for hell, Gehenna, comes from the word for the valley of Hinnom. Therefore, God says he has a special place in hell for the Assyrian king. So when he said, for Tophet was established of old, yes, for the king it is prepared. So he's saying the dump, the place where we dump our trash, has been prepared for the king of Assyria. That's what God said. But Israel don't want to believe it. Israel wants to keep following or begging Egypt to help them. Not a good move. All right, chapter 31. I just closed it, dang it. It's okay, I got a bookmark. All right, Isaiah 31. Woe to them that go, this is the Lord will give victory. The Lord will give victory, not Egypt. Same theme we're going with through a lot of Isaiah. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men, and not God, and their horses flesh, and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is holpen shall fall down. Holpen. And they all shall fail together. For thus hath the Lord spoken unto me, like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey. When a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So shall the Lord of hosts come down to the fight for Mount Zion and for the hill thereof. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. Turn ye unto him, from whom the children of Israel have deeply revolted. For in that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which your own hands have made unto you for a sin. Then shall the Assyrian fall with the sword, not of a mighty man, and the sword, not of a mean man, shall devour him. But he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited. And he shall pass over to his stronghold for fear, and his princes shall be afraid of the ensign, saith the Lord, whose fire is in Zion, and his furnace in Jerusalem. So we got some shorter chapters now. That chapter was pretty pretty clear what was going on there. Woe to those who go down to Egypt for help. Isaiah confronted Judah with two sins: the sin of trusting in Egypt and their military might, and the sin of not looking to the Holy One of Israel. Judah felt they had a reason to trust in chariots because they are many. Judah felt they had a reason to trust in horses because they are strong, and horsemen because they are strong. But they couldn't seem to find a reason to trust in the Lord. So one of these scholars wrote, they did not, of course, abandon faith per se. Everybody lives by faith. It is part of the human condition. Financiers trust market forces. Militarists trust bombs. Scientists trust nature's regularities. Jerusalem's leaders trusted Egypt. So they still had faith. They just had faith in the wrong thing. I like that point, that everyone trusts or believes or has faith in something. Even if they claim to be atheists, you still believe in something. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses are flesh and not spirit. That's pretty clear. As a lion roars, so the Lord of hosts will come down to fight for Mount Zion. Again, their trust in Egypt for protection against the Assyrian invasion was both foolish and unnecessary. God would protect Mount Zion if Judah trusted him or not. Let's see. That's the whole. There's this. Then Assyria shall fall by a sword, not of man. So I guess they're saying a sword of God. This was fulfilled exactly. The Assyrian army devastated almost the entire land of Judah and camped on the outskirts of Jerusalem, waiting to conquer the nation by defeating the capital city. But 2 Kings 19:35 describes how God simply sent the angel of the Lord and killed 185,000 Assyrians in one night. When the people woke up, there were 185,000 dead Assyrian soldiers. It was a victory that had nothing to do with the sword of man. God was more than able to protect Judah and Jerusalem. Nice. Was that 31? All right, let's go to 32. A king's reign of righteousness is the summary of chapter 32. All right, is this the warning to the women? Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment, and a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And the eyes of them that see shall not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. The vile person shall be no more called liberal. What? The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. Well, I still call liberals vile people. Where's my highlighter? I gotta highlight that. That's awesome. The vile shall be no more called liberals. Well, we're in the end times when they don't call the liberals vile anymore. I don't know where my highlighter went. Is it on the floor? Oh, there it is. I like that. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl be said to be bountiful. What is churl? Churl. The churl. The churl. Hold on, let me look this up real quick. Casting. Christ. Christ is mentioned a lot. Holy cow. There's 1, 2, 3. Oh. No, it's only 3 pages of Christ mentioned in the Bible. 3 pages in this book is a lot because these are tiny little 3 columns of tiny little things. Christ is mentioned a lot in the Bible. Holy cow. Not holy cow. I shouldn't say that. Churl. 3596. 3596. 3596. 3596. 3596. 34. 34. 35. 3596. What are we looking for? Churl? Churl. Don't Google it. 3596. Churl. In Hebrew, it's kilai. 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 In the sense of withholding or niggardly. Churl. That's what it says. It says niggardly, which actually does not mean what you think it means. It's not a bad word. Kilai. That doesn't help me. In the sense of withholding. So churl is to withhold something or to be niggardly. And that's not a bad word, YouTube. not a racial slur. Holy cow. I just said holy cow again. We do not worship the holy cow. Okay, let's keep reading. For the vile person will speak villainly, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instrument also of the churl are evil. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. But the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. And here's the warning to the women. I'm highlighting this. I didn't know the Bible called out liberals. Let's go. Verse 9, rise up ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the horses of joy in the joyous city. Because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the cities shall be left. The forts and towers shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks. Until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field. And the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness quietness and assurance forever. And my people shall dwell in a peaceable habitation, and in sure dwellings, and in quiet resting places. When it shall hail, coming down on the forest, and the city shall be low in a low place. Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the ass. Thither, Thither, not tither, thither. What up, Fredo? Good morning. We just learned that in Isaiah chapter 32, God calls out, or Isaiah or God, Isaiah speaking for God, calls out liberals twice. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, which insinuates that vile people were called liberals, but someday they won't be. The liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. Maybe it's saying we're supposed to be liberal, but liberals are hated. I don't think that's what it's saying, though. I'm trying to be fair here. Because this is like a warning on Israel. Let's see. Let's look here. We'll find it here. So verses, blessings from the coming king. Are we on chapter 32? Yeah. A king will reign in righteousness. A king will reign in righteousness. The princes will rule with justice. What verse is this? Verse 5. Rivers of water in a dry place. That described how wonderful the spiritual renewal during the reign of Hezekiah was, like the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. By God's blessings, those who see could see better than ever, and those who hear will listen. Okay, here we are. Verses 5 through 8. The foolish person will no longer be called generous. The foolish person will seek foolishness. Okay, so by liberal, they're just meaning... Okay, so... And I was saying it kind of jokingly, because I figured they didn't mean liberal like the political ideology. They just mean generous people. The foolish person will no longer be called generous or liberal. The foolish person will speak foolishness. The spiritual renewal during the reign of Hezekiah meant that spiritual reality would be exposed for all to see. No more would there be deception by appearances. If a man were foolish, he would be exposed as foolish. So it does kind of mean what I was implying that it meant, like, because you see liberal type people, they're supposed to be the loving ones and the charitable. Well, they're really, Christians are the most charitable ones, but the liberals, they want to help the poor and give money to all, take from the rich and give to the poor, and equality and diversity and inclusion, and it looks really nice and it sounds really generous and it sounds like they're loving and caring, but really they're foolish. And they're saying after the spiritual renewal, when God is around, you don't call him liberal anymore, you just call him foolish. I like that. I like that. Rise up, you women who are at ease. Before the righteous king would come, the people had to prepare themselves. The women who are at ease and the complacent daughters had to get ready for the righteous king. At ease means is the same word used in a later chapter where God promises secure dwelling places, Isaiah 32:18. Complacent is the same word used later in the same chapter where God promises peaceful habitation. According to Isaiah, there is nothing wrong with feeling secure and undisturbed as long as one's trust is solidly based on the Lord. And that's a commentary from Wolf. Tremble, you women who are at ease. Instead of an indulgent, self-focused life, they would be required to tremble, be troubled, and put on the clothing of mourning. This would show repentance and readiness for the righteous king. 12 through 14, the whole land mourns. People shall mourn upon their breasts for pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Because of the Assyrian invasion to come, God would use the tough economic times to wake Judah up. For the vintage will fall, the gathering will not come. The tough times touched everyone. All the happy homes in the joyous city, the places will be forsaken. Verse 15, the Spirit is poured out upon humble people. Verse 16 through 20, blessings brought by the Spirit. So now we see some blessings: justice, righteousness, peace, quietness, and assurance forever. And then my people will dwell in a peaceful habitation and secure dwellings, though hail comes down on the forest and the city is brought low in humiliation. When God's Spirit is poured out, we live on a principle higher than circumstances based. If others feel the pelting hail, or are brought low in humiliation, it doesn't affect those blessed by the poured out Spirit of God. Facts. All right. So that's 32. Let's go on to 33. Chapter 33. Chapter 33, the Lord delivers Zion. Oh, they're finally going to get delivered for like a short period of time, and then it's going to be right back into the jaws of the enemy. Israel doesn't learn their lesson. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou waste not spoil. Sorry, I'm butchering this. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and thou wast not spoiled. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously. So, woe to those that spoil and are not spoiled, and deal treacherously, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. Then thou shalt cease to spoil. Wait, this is a little confusing. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Woe to thee that spoilest. So if you spoil and you're not spoiled, woe to you. If you deal treacherously and you don't get dealt back treacherousness Woe to you. You should reap what you sow. I think that's kind of what it's saying. They shall deal treacherously. And he's saying instead, when you cease to spoil, you'll be spoiled. And when you stop dealing treacherously, you'll be dealt with treacherously. O Lord, be gracious unto us. We have waited for thee. Be thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of thyself, the nations were scattered. And your spoil shall be gathered like the gatherings of the caterpillar. As the running to and fro of locusts shall he run upon them. The Lord is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Behold, their valiant ones shall cry without. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. The highways lie waste. The wayfaring man ceaseth. He hath broken the covenant. He hath despised the cities. He regardeth no man. The earth mourneth and languisheth. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down. Sharon is a wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now will I rise, saith the Lord. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. Ye shall conceive chaff. Ye shall bring forth stubble. Your breath as fire shall devour you. And the people shall be as the burnings of lime. As thorns cut up shall they be burned in the fire. Hear ye that are far off what I have done, and ye that are near acknowledge my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Fearfulness hath surprised the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with the everlasting burnings? He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, he that despiseth the gain of oppressions, shall shaketh his hands from holding of bribes, that stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood, and shutteth his eyes from seeing evil. He shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munitions of rocks. Bread shall be given him. His waters shall be sure. Thine eyes shall see the kingdom in this beauty. They shall behold the land that is very far off. Thine heart shall meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? Thou shalt not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than thou canst perceive, of a stammering tongue that thou canst not understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. But there the glorious Lord will be unto us a place of broad rivers and streams, wherein shall no galley with oars, neither shall gallant ships pass thereby. I think this is supposed to be more like this. There you go. Okay. Where was I? Towers. Stammering tongue. Okay, pass thereby. For the Lord, 22. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king. He will save us. Thy tacklings are loosed. They could not well strengthen their mast. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of a great spoil divided. The lame take the prey. And the inhabitant shall not say, I am sick. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven their iniquity. It didn't sound like a delivery of Zion. Woe to you who plunder. This prophecy spoken before the Assyrian invasion shows that this seemingly unstoppable army will in fact be stopped. Those who did the plundering will be plundered and will be dealt with treacherously by others. They will deal treacherously with you. Jesus spoke of this same principle in Matthew 7, 1 and 2. Judge not that you not be judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the same measure you use, it will be measured back to you. God has every right to deal with us as we have dealt with others. That's what it's saying. Woe to you who deals treacherously with others, but doesn't get dealt with treacherously. And then God says, I'll deal with you treacherously. You want to deal with others? You want to treat others, the wrong way? Then I'll treat you the same way. So that was a parallel to Matthew 7, 1 and 2. O Lord, be gracious to us. We have waited for you. Be their arm every morning. God's people aren't trusting in themselves anymore. They are waiting on the Lord to look to his arm every morning. I guess by arm, they mean like armaments, not like his arm. Like the gathering of the caterpillar. That was interesting. Verse 4 may already have had an initial fulfillment after the death of Assyrian soldiers, for undoubtedly the inhabitants of Jerusalem congregated like caterpillars around the corpses and implements of war. And that's from Baltima. Verses 5 and 6, the Lord is exalted. He has filled Zion with righteousness and judgment. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. That's all pretty simple. Verses 7 through 9, the valiant ones shall cry outside. The earth mourns and languishes. When the judgment of the Lord comes to the earth, everyone is brought low before him. The valiant ones shall cry, and the ambassadors of peace who trusted in other nations instead of the Lord shall weep bitterly. Even the mighty Lebanon with her majestic forest of cedar is shamed and shriveled. The valiant ones, the Hebrew word translated valiant ones, appears only this one time in the Bible. The word Ereliam, which we translate valiant ones, is very difficult. No man knows what it means. Kimchi supposes that it is the name of the angel that smote the Assyrian camp. The Vulgate in my old manuscript translate it seers, and most of the versions understand it this way. None of the manuscripts give us any help. The valiant ones, Ereliam. We really don't know for sure what it means, but they say the valiant ones. The fire of the Lord is verses 10 through 13. The Lord announces his fire of judgment. Now I will rise. As the whole earth is brought low by the judgment of the Lord, at the same time the Lord lifts himself up. And the people shall be like burnings of lime, like thorns cut up. They shall be burned in the fire. God's judgment will come like fire, and the wicked and worthless works of man will be like chaff and stubble that is quickly and ferociously burned in the fire. To lime stresses the intensity of the blaze. To lime. 14 through 19, fearful sinners and blessed saints. The sinners in Zion are afraid. He who walks righteously and seeks uprightly, he will dwell on high. Though the sinners and hypocrites are terrified at the coming judgment of the Lord's righteous ones are comforted that God is coming to set things right. Your heart will meditate on terror. The revealing of the king will be the greatest glory for the child of God, but it will be the greatest terror for the one who has set their heart against or apart from God in vain. They will look to the scribe or he who weighs or he who counts the towers for help, but there will be none. Verses 20 through 24, Zion is delivered and blessed. Look upon Zion, your eyes will see Jerusalem, a quiet home. In the midst of the Assyrian threat, God will preserve Jerusalem. Not one of its stakes will ever be removed. A place of broad rivers and streams. God's blessings on Zion would bring broad rivers and streams to this once barren desert land. Grogan says, this chapter, so full of compelling imagery, presents a picture of Jerusalem as a kind of Near Eastern Venice or Amsterdam, or to place it in its historical context, like the great cities of Egypt or Mesopotamia. Most great civilizations have grown up around important rivers. Israel in general and Jerusalem in particular were exceptions to this. Morning, Josh. I didn't realize you were going to be doing Bible studies. Yeah, just doing some morning reading because I need to read more. Instead of just coming home and watching dumb movies all the time, I need to read more, so I figured I might as well just do it on the stream. The lame take prey. The people who dwell in it will be forgiven their iniquity. When God saves, he does it in unlikely ways. It is an unexpected blessing. I'm tired, guys. It's been a long week. It is an unexpected blessing that the lame take the prey. It is an unexpected blessing that people can be forgiven their iniquity. The majestic Lord brings unexpected blessings. Okay. I think we have 2 chapters left today. Why is it saying 35 through 50? Are 35 through 50 really short? No, they're about the same length. I don't know why it sticks them all together. You're watching the wrong movies? I want to watch this movie, but I can't find it. And I don't want to talk about it right now because it's kind of, well, I'll just say the title of the movie, and if anybody's seen it, then you'll know. But it's called The Strange Thing with the Jones. The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. And it's made by the guy who made Hereditary and what's that other movie? What's the one? What's it called? Hereditary and the cult one where they're like a cult in like Norway or something. Midsummer. The guy who made Hereditary and Midsummer, which are both really good scary movies. That guy, Ari Aster, I think his name is, made a short movie called The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. And I heard Sam Hyde on his podcast talking about it. I think I've heard you mention that movie before. I just found out about it earlier this week, and I haven't watched it yet. Sam Hyde was talking about it on his stream, and he said, yeah. I was talking about Midsummer and Hereditary because I really like those movies. But Sam Hyde was talking about this movie called The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. And he basically gives the plot of the movie, and I was like, what? That's crazy. And now I want to see it. But if you Google The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, you can see what the plot is, and it seems like a crazy movie. Yeah, it's I don't know. I haven't seen it yet though, so if you want, I don't know where I can find it. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get through this. Let's do 34. I guess we should stop after 34. We might also do 35. Yeah, we can do 35. It's short. All right. Chapter 34. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that there is, all that is there in the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Dang. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off the vine, and as a falling fig from a tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorns, the Bible talks about unicorns? What? Oh, guys. There's snow in the south. It's clear and warm in the north. Everyone's getting fired. It's climate change. Josh, it seems like a short film is only on Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime. Awesome. Thank you, Amanda. I have Amazon Prime, so I can watch it. But did you read what it's about? Seems crazy. Anyway, unicorns are in the Bible. I did not know that. 2. What's the note here? 2. Oh, it says or rhinoceros. So a unicorn is a rhinoceros. I knew it. I knew unicorns were rhinoceroses. Because they are it should be unihorn. I don't know why they call it unicorn and not a unihorn. But then it has a little note. It says 2. So when I go over to 2, it says or rhinoceros. Yes, the Bible talks about unicorns, but it means the horned rhino. Whatever. It was so much cooler when I thought it meant real unicorns. I guess a rhino is a real unihorn. And the unicorns shall come down blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. So they were fighting on rhinos? That's based. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant, or pelican. Cormorant means pelican. Pelican, your mouth holds more than your bellican. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. And all her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be an habitation of dragons. No note on that one. They're talking about dragons. And a court for owls. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet the wild beasts of the island. And the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There shall be the great owl make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall be vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord, and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. Okay. 34, the indignation of the Lord against all nations. Indignation of the Lord. Come near, you nations, to hear, and heed, you people. I'm looking for anything that was like confusing in there. I just want to hear more about the dragons and unicorns. Could dragon be a dinosaur? A flying I mean, yeah, a dinosaur is just a big reptile. So it's just a big reptile with wings on it. And maybe it can breathe fire. You know? That's not that hard to believe. It's just a fire-breathing pterodactyl. And no, freaking raptors did not have feathers. Anyway, oh man, it's getting irritating. Some guy did a whole like debunk of Christians who don't believe that dinosaurs had feathers. Whatever, dude. Each kind reproduces after its own kind. I ain't never seen no feathered Komodo dragon. Okay? The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. Their land shall be soaked with blood. The indignation of the Lord finds its final fulfillment in the battle of Armageddon. Oh, so this is some more apocalyptic writing. A lot of apocalyptic writing in Isaiah. So we're getting some more of that, which I kind of got the drift when they said God's sword would be soaked in blood and that all of the land would be on fire and smoke would rise into the sky forever. Oh, I know, Mike. I know. It's not a claim. It's a fact. Did you see the short I made? I thought it was pretty funny. I was listening to Mel Gibson and Joe Rogan last night, and they get to a thing where he's talking about Mel Gibson was talking about how he met this guy that healed him with like energy. And he's like, he would just say some chants and do some things with his hands. And he said the guy would point at you and you would feel like you were getting pushed backwards. And Mel's like, I could feel him forcing me backwards against a wall by just pointing at me. And then Mel's like, so, if he has these abilities to force energy out of his hands, maybe they had something like that to make the pyramids. And Joe's like, yeah, I'd like to hear a better explanation. And I was like, I got a better explanation for you guys. Maybe you haven't heard this one yet. Dinosaurs built the pyramid. That's a better explanation than telekinesis from some guru moving 1,000-pound rocks. But anyway, overflowing with fatness and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of the rams. For the Lord has a great sacrifice and a great slaughter. In associating this time of judgment with the image of sacrifice, Isaiah tells us that this is a payment for the penalty of sin. Even as a sacrifice victim paid for the sin of the one bringing the sacrifice, so the bloody judgment of sin at Armageddon will be a payment for the penalty of sin. It will be an imperfect, incomplete payment, but it will be payment of some kind. The mention of sacrificial animals is primarily intended to refer to the slaughter of people. The wild oxen shall come down with them. The King James Version translates wild oxen as unicorns. Wild oxen is the preferred translation. No, unicorns is a way better translation. Or rhinoceros. There used to be quite a difference of opinion regarding the word unicorns, but today the general opinion is that it does not mean rhinoceros, but oryx or wild bison. According to Deuteronomy 33:17, this animal did not have one, but two horns. Well, wouldn't it be a bihorn or a bicorn instead of a unicorn? I like rhinoceros better. I like picturing them riding in on rhinoceroses. That's way cooler than buffalo. Also, rhinoceroses are in Africa. There's probably also oxen in Africa. I'm sure there's oxen. They have ox. But rhinos would be way cooler. And what would be even cooler is if they had real unicorns. Wild oxen were not used in sacrifices. Possibly, therefore, Isaiah is using animal metaphors for the important people and leaders of Edom. And that's Matyer. Matyer said that. Uni means one. Who translated it to be two horns? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That would be a bicorn. And I still don't get why they say corn instead of horn. It should be a unihorn. And a buffalo would be a bihorn. Yep. A gender-neutral corn. The land is inhabited by animals of the wilderness. 11 through 15, the land is inhabited by animals of the wilderness. The pelican and porcupine shall possess it. Much of the earth will be so destroyed that in many places only wild animals will be able to live. The wild goat shall bleat to its companion. That's actually interesting. In 1883, when I was watching it, there's like a narrator. A girl narrates the show. And she's in the show too, but she's also the narrator. And she says, when I looked out at the mountains and the land, she realized that God didn't make. I forget what she said. It was kind of deep. It was kind of like also kind of like hippie-ish, like I don't know, some like Mother Earth type hippie stuff. But she's like, maybe the reason that, or what did she say? She said something like, why did God make this world for us just so that we could kill each other and do violent, evil things and kill all the animals? And then she says, then I realized God didn't make it for us. He made it for the plants and the animals, is basically what I didn't say it very well because I don't remember the quote exactly, but basically she implies the reason why there's so much chaos because of man on earth is that God didn't make the earth for us. He made it for the animals, which kind of lends to this verse in Isaiah is implying that after the Armageddon, the animals will still be here and they'll be the only things that can live on the earth is the animals, which is interesting. I've never really thought about that. Like, Armageddon doesn't mean the world explodes. I guess it could potentially. That would be like a pillar of fire. If a pillar of fire, sun ray or something, or even a bunch of nukes could be looked at as a pillar of fire that would wipe out the earth, or the core of the earth just explodes and a pillar of fire goes up from the depths, something like that. But I never thought about, would there still be animals on earth after Armageddon? And based off of this in Isaiah 34, makes it seem like after the Armageddon, there's going to be pelicans and porcupines and birds flying around, and they're going to be the only things that screech owls. They're going to be the only things that are on the earth. That's interesting. Huh. Verses 16 and 17, the surety of the judgment of the Lord. Okay. These are short chapters, so I'm going to do one more before I go. We're going to do chapter 35. Okay. Oh, cool. Now it opened up. All right. Isaiah 35, the highway of holiness. Let's read Isaiah 35, and then we'll do a little summary, and then I'll get out of here and go to bed. That's a non-binary corn or horn. Yeah. The wilderness and the wilderness, that's what I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of non-binary. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice, and blossoms as the rose. And it shall blossom abundantly, and rejoice even with the joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are fearful at heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Hold on, I'm going to highlight that. I like that verse. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be open, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, H-A-R-T, and the tongue of the dumb sing. Dumb meaning they can't talk, not dumb meaning stupid people. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. And the habitation of dragons where each lay shall be grass with reeds and rushes. Dude, Isaiah has mentioned dragons in almost every chapter. I love it. and I don't see any of these commentary guys, these scholars, they don't believe Leviathan was a real thing. They think it was a metaphor. They think unicorns were oxen, which doesn't even make sense. It's way cooler if they were rhinoceroses. But they don't have nothing to say about the dragons. Every time it mentions a dragon, there's no commentary on the dragons. These scholars are like, oh, we really don't want to believe in dragons, but it looks like Isaiah keeps talking about these dragons. I don't know. Right, and so Isaiah knew about dragons, but we couldn't have possibly had some big, slow, lumbering sauropods to drag some rocks. That's crazy. But dragons were flying around, and people were fighting on rhinoceroses. Okay. See, I told you My facts are not crazy. Shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfarer man, the fools shall not. Hold on, I'm just going to read the whole verse again. And an highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those. The wayfaring man, the fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. That's nice. That's a good one to end it on, because that's the first, like, somewhat happy chapter today. All the other chapters were like God's sword is going to be dripping in blood as he burns your cities to the ground and wipes out every human, and you're going to beg and cry, and we're going to throw you on the ground like a menstruous cloth. Chapter 35, it brightened up a little bit. That's a good one to end on, talking about the highway of holiness, the path to God. Once Armageddon happens, there's going to be a road that there's not going to be any lions on it or dragons. There's going to be springs and water, even though you're in a dry land. There's going to be fertile grass. And instead of dragons in caves, there's going to be, trees and forests. And basically, it's paradise. It's the highway. It's the road that leads to paradise. And it's a glorious road, and all the desert land, the hot desert, dry dragons and beasts and rhinoceroses running around and soldiers and foolish people, all that will be gone. It's going to be paradise, and there's going to be a highway that only the righteous will walk down to get to God. And they'll be in paradise, and they'll be surrounded by paradise as they walk down this road. It's a good chapter to end on. Let's look at some breakdowns. So verse 1 and 2, the wilderness and the wasteland shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. After the judgment on the nations described in Isaiah 34, God will bring a beautiful restoration based. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice. This promise was proved true in many ways, and in some sense will yet be fulfilled. The promise was true in the immediate term when Judah was restored after the invasion of the Assyrians was turned back. The promise is true in the longer term as modern-day Israel has turned the wilderness and the wasteland into productive farms and truly has made the desert blossom as a rose. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if I'd say all that, because Israel's constantly at war and being bombed, and I don't know, there's still no peace in Israel, and that would be a sign of the end times when there is peace in the Middle East. This promise will be true in the ultimate fulfillment of this prophecy when God restores the ecology of the world after the end of the Great Tribulation and the Battle of Armageddon, from Isaiah 11, 6 through 9. Romans 8, 19 through 22 says, the earnest expectation of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. Because of the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groans and labors with birth pains together until now. Nature is waiting for the transformation that will come when the Messiah reigns and the believers are glorified. Nice. Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. So he'll make the weak strong. He'll make the infirm firm. The coming judgment will be enough to make the hands of anyone weak and the knees of anyone feeble. But in the light of the glorious restoration of God will bring from that time, it would be no time to have weak hands or feeble knees. God wanted his people to get strong and get going. Nice. Say to those who are fearful-hearted, be strong, do not fear. He will come to save you. That's pretty simple. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened. When John the Baptist was in prison, he became discouraged and began to wonder if Jesus really was the Messiah he had proclaimed him to be. When John's disciples brought this question to Jesus, he replied, "Go and tell John the things which you hear and see. The blind see, the lame walk, the leopards are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. Blessed is he who is not offended because of me." If Jesus didn't use the exact words of Isaiah 35, he certainly used the idea. Jesus, the Messiah, had come to bring God's salvation, and that would be accompanied by miraculous power. Abundance replaces lack. For water shall burst forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. The parched ground shall become a pool. I already explained all that. Highway of holiness. Today we take good roads for granted, but in the ancient world, a good road, a highway, was an amazing blessing for travel, progress, and business. Isaiah announces that in the ministry of the Messiah, there will be a wonderful highway, a road known as the highway of holiness. The Hebrew word for highway indicates what our English word literally says, a high way. It speaks of a raised road lifted above the ground. It is a high, glorious road to travel on. The construction of this highway of holiness was the greatest engineering feat ever accomplished. Engineering has done much. So there's actually a physical highway of holiness in Israel, I guess, or they are actually made one. Engineering has done much to tunnel mountains and bridge abysses, but the greatest triumph of engineering is, so it's not a physical place. I'm confused. The greatest triumph of engineering is that which made a way from sin to holiness, from death to life, from condemnation to perfection. Who could make a road over the mountains of our iniquities but Almighty God? None but the Lord of love would have wished it. None but the God of wisdom could have devised it. None but the God of power could have carried it out. And that's a quote from Spurgeon. Spurgeon. I've heard of Spurgeon before. The safety of the highway of holiness. No lion shall be there, no ravens, no ravenous beasts. The travelers of the highway of holiness. The ransom of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with singing. We use this highway of holiness to come to where God lives and reigns, Zion. And we come there with singing. God can put a song in our hearts as we travel on this highway of holiness. See, things like that make me think that when they sing songs and do worship in Protestant churches, that's not really a bad thing. But it has gotten too feminine and too soft. But I don't think necessarily having a singing and having a worship group is a bad thing, as some denominations will tell you. But I do think that they do it a little too much in some of the Protestant churches to appeal to the women, because the women love the music. In my video, I'm still editing it. It's a long video, but the video of my whole trip to Florida, it's just one video a week. In the video, the first night, like as soon as I landed in Florida and got home, I had to take a shower, and we turned around and went to church for the church that I grew up going to and the church that my mom still goes to. We went there for their Christmas Eve worship service. And it wasn't like a Christmas Eve. It wasn't like a sermon. There was no sermon. It was just a worship service that they put together on Christmas Eve, the night of Christmas Eve. We went there, and it was like an hour long, and they just sang a bunch of Christmas songs and other songs, and it was really cool. I liked it, and I have some clips of it in the video. The video is probably going to get copyright strikes because the church music is probably copyrighted, and also when we were at Pop Stroke, which is a putt-putt golf place, there was a lot of music playing in the background, so probably won't be able to monetize that video, but it's coming soon. The only point I'm making is we went to the Christmas Eve worship service at my old church, and it was pretty cool. I got to see a lot of the same people from when I was a little kid. Like, some of them are getting pretty old, and they could barely remember me. I was like, you knew me when I was, well, they knew me when I was 18, but they also knew me when I was like in 4th grade, because I went there for years. But it'll be in the video. They had one song that was powerful. It was pretty good. But The only reason I'm saying all that is because it says that we will sing songs. God puts a song in our hearts that we sing as we go down the highway of holiness. And I hear, and I do it myself. I've kind of knocked the Protestant worship churches where it's all just like songs and a worship team and raising holy hands and standing up and doing all that stuff. But like that's not I'm not a big fan of all that, but I also don't think that it's bad. It's just when you have Bethel and Hillsong, turning R. Kelly music into Christian music, changing a couple words and turning a love song about a woman into a love song about Jesus. And it's just very feminine. I don't like that. But I don't think that singing in church is necessarily wrong. The Orthodox Church, the Divine Liturgy, is all singing, but they don't call it singing. They call it chanting. But it's basically the whole service is done in song, except for they don't call it a sermon. I forget what they call it. I'm not going to be able to think of it right now. But when there's a part where you sit down for like 10 minutes and the guy does a little sermon. The father does a little, or priest or whatever you call him, does a little sermon. And, but other than that, the whole service is done in song, but it's not singing like in Protestant churches. It's chanting. But, and I kind of like that. I think I like all of it. I don't know. Like a little bit of everything. But anyway, I digress. With everlasting joy on their heads, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Using the pictures of this chapter, it is as if we come to God barren, dry, blind, deaf, weak, and crippled. Then the miraculous power of Jesus comes to change us, heal us, and provide for us. That isn't the end of God's work, though. He then goes on to make a highway of holiness that transformed man can walk on. The highway would be helpful to one who was barren, dry, blind, deaf, weak, and crippled. But when the highway is provided for the one who is healed and provided for as we are in Jesus, the blessing is even more amazing. Are you on that highway? Are you making progress on it? Are you enjoying the travel? Are you inviting others to join? All right. That's a good place to stop. That's a good place to stop. We'll move on to 36 tomorrow. Let me change this 30 through 35. And I think we're going to head out. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm going to check Amazon Prime to see if that movie's on there. I'm going to lay down. I'll be back tonight. I'll probably start streaming around 8. I don't know. I might start streaming a little bit before VK starts, but I'm planning on going on VK tonight, and I'll dual stream it here. And then when it's over, somebody else will probably have an after party, unless I win. If I win, then I'll just have them send the after party to me. But if I don't win and somebody else does an after party, we'll probably just bring it here and jump on the Discord late tonight after VK. But I will be doing that. Yeah, everyone go there and vote for me. And if I win, we can get the raid and we can do the after party here. But that's the plan for tonight. Tomorrow night is fight night. Rebus versus Dern. That'll be cool. You're winning. I didn't even come close to winning last time. I thought I was going to get way more votes, but I didn't get hardly any votes. I wasn't even like one of the top contenders. But he's doing it differently now, and I like the way he's doing it because I've never lost a one-on-one on VK. And at the end, if you make it to the end, there's a series of one-on-ones until they get down to 4 people. And then you just vote for those 4 people. If I can make it to that top 4, I think I have a good chance. So I like the way he's doing it now. because then people can't just sit back and get to the end. You gotta go head to head at least once. And I usually get put in a bunch of 1v1s, so that should be fun. That's what we're gonna do tonight. I might start streaming if he starts 7:30 Eastern time. If he starts on time, but he's in a different time zone now, I think, because he's in a different place. But if he starts at 7:30 Eastern, that's 9:30 my time. I might start streaming at like 8:30, and then just go into that when it starts. But I might not. I might sleep in, get a little extra sleep today, and just start streaming when he starts VK. Wish he'd started earlier. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like when he first did it, I was able to get on for an hour. Like, I feel like he used to start it even earlier. Maybe not, but 7:30 is 9:30 my time. Yeah, if he starts at 9:30, I can't even. I remember for a while there, I was able to get on for like an hour before I went to work, which means he was starting. I leave for work at 9. That meant he was starting at 8 my time, which means he was starting at 6 Eastern. Now he starts at 7:30 Eastern. But sometimes he starts even later than that, and he's on like vacation, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll probably start streaming around 8:30 or 9 my time, which is like half an hour to an hour before VK starts. And then we'll just go into it while I'm streaming. But I do want to get a little extra sleep today, so I'm not going to guarantee that. But we will be streaming tonight. We will be on VK tonight. You can watch it here. You can watch it there. If you're watching it here, I'm still going to send you over there to vote for me. So, I don't know. It's up to you guys where you want to watch it. But I'm going to drink plenty of coffee to stay up tonight. We'll take a nap first. Don't start drinking your coffee now. Take a nap. Get some sleep. And then take a little nap from for a couple hours before it starts, and then wake up and then chug the coffee. Get your beauty rest. I will. All right, guys. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't yet. We don't have a big raid today, but whatever. I'll still redirect. See, this thing is still showing up. Uno with the homies is still like a stream on my list of streams. I don't know how to get rid of that. What a weird thing. Let's see. Rob's not on. James not on. I don't see Chris or Damien or anybody really. Gutters Pub. I feel like I've gone to his channel before, but I don't even know what it is. JLR Investigates. He's got hundreds of. He don't need the raid. Apparently, a suspect was arrested for arson. An arson suspect was arrested, California. Monday, I got a lot to go off on about these fires. Lots to say about these fires. We'll talk about that Monday, though. I'm going to send you over to the Hake Report. Say hi to Hake for me. Even though there's only one person watching, you guys can check out Hake. People will keep giving you a watch. That's true. But God bless, guys. I'll see you tonight. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. Hit the like button on your way out. I'll talk to you later, guys. Peace. Later, Amanda.